Oh, g'day everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses again. I'm lucky enough to be here with Robbie Bloch at Robbie and Rosie's house, mate. Firstly, thank you from the Swan Cup for your service fee donation for the best lady player. You've got two stallions here at home. You've got Adios Cherokee and Clark Family Freestyler, so the girls get a choice.
Yep.
Best lady player, mate. So, like, I suppose when you're donating service fees and you're putting them up, I suppose all you hope for is that people bring their mares back and appreciate the fact that you've offered it and you get a good mare back to these horses.
Yeah, very much. Firstly, thanks for having us on, Cameron. Yeah, definitely. We sort of got both ends of the scale with the two horses. Cherokee's 21 or 2, and Freestyle would be 5 or 6. So you got a young horse coming on, you want some nice mares for, and you got an old horse that hasn't got long left, that you don't want to waste the time. So yeah, when we decided to sponsor the event with that service fee, my wife's the driving force behind what we do here. So naturally, we were drawn towards the women's competition and try and support that. Yeah.
Oh, mate, and it's a good competition too. And them girls, seriously, like they ride some good broncs, and and most of them top women, like they're in families that are breeding horses, and they're either got their own stallions. So obviously you got an outcross. If they can come away from their own pedigrees and they can find the right thing here with either Cherokee or Freestyler, Freddie as we know him. But yeah, I think it's opens up a few angles for them, and it also just promotes your own horses. So it's only a good thing.
Indeed, yeah. No, the women's competition, from what I've seen over the years at the Swan Cups, every bit as good as the men's. The incentive, any of them. So we were really happy to be a part of it. Yeah.
Mate, I think the last few years, nearly every game's just been 1 or 2 goals in it. So like it's pretty cool competition. Like we're straight up, we're straight into it. They've got 6 players, they've got 9 horses, and they go at it as hard as anyone. Them women, like they play for it. So it's big thank you again. Mate, yeah, we're going with our sale now, and I suppose I just want to talk to you about all the different sales that are on. You've had horses at Dalby and Tamworth. I'm not sure if you've had horses at Epic. You supported us before out here, but they're all sales now that have incentives, don't they? Like everywhere you go, if you don't have an incentive or something to give back, it's hard to get the horses there, and it's hard to get the people to buy them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's the way it's gone. We've seen it for a lot of years in the thoroughbred industry. The big shows, the Magic Millions, the Inglis Easter ones, even though whether they've got their own race day, whether they don't, there's big incentives out there to get people into sales, the cutest bonuses, and this is all stemmed off that. It's just made the horses better. I think I rode a couple of horses leading up to the first ever nutrient sale, and drafted a couple for a bloke, and was there at the first sale when we sold those horses. And the quality of the horses in the industry from then till now is vastly different. It's all on the back of these incentives. You've got to get them bred better because you've got to get them going better earlier in their life to target these incentives. And it's really helped the quality of the horses come along. It's good though. A lot of them now have progressed into lifelong eligibilities or open age eligibilities, which is sort of help that horse retain his value right through his competition life rather than drop off a cliff when he turns 5. So that's a really good thing, and especially with the Swan Cup, with a lifetime eligibility for a horse, it really makes it a great spot for buyers to go and buy a horse that can play for big money every year, and it really is achievable. It's we've seen with that Swan Cup incentive competition every year, it's anyone's to win.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the points cap and the one section of sale horses, one section of non-sale horses. There's 1,000 different structures, I suppose, you could put a team to, and you're just reading on paper before it. Never quite know who's going to win that one.
Well, you've played in it before with us, and you wouldn't have played polocross for 10 or 15 years maybe, and it's a way to get blokes like yourself back into the sport. We'd try and get Rosie and my wife and all that back into it as well, so it's, as far as our club's concerned, we've bring people back to the industry. So
indeed,
yeah, so it's a good thing. I also find, mate, we're getting a lot more of these younger horses in our sale. Like people are breeding horses, and we got 14 yearlings, I think, this year. So people are going, well, we'll take the money as a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, or just ready to be broke in, instead of taking them right through. So like that's a good thing as well.
it is a good thing, and it allows everyone in at a grassroots sort of base price within reason type level. Those
Yeah.
yearlings, it allows everyone to play because they're expensive to take on from weaning through to 3-year-olds. Fair few costs go into a horse, so you sell them. You can sell them cheaper. And you can allow people to buy them cheaper, and then every young bloke can buy one at their price, put the effort, put the time into them themselves, and get a reward.
Yeah, and look, most of them polocross people, they like to put their own spin on them, don't they? Like break them in, get them going how they like. Mightn't like to buy one off me and it's going pretty ordinary, so who knows?
Yeah, no, everyone's got their own way they like them to be going, and she's a wide old world there in the horse world. So it's good to be able to have something for everyone and a price bracket for everyone.
So this year, Sale, mate, you've supported us always and always had a couple of horses for us, but we've got two here behind us. Lot 32, which is President.
Yep.
What's President?
So President's out of a mare of ours that we were fortunate enough to get our hands on a couple of years ago, Jalen Downs Primrose, a grey McCallum mare off Justin and Lyndall Hafey. So he's out of her by Bernara Mentor. I'd have to look at his papers, but he's probably 17 months now. He's just in that yearling section.
Yeah.
But that's what he is, yeah. Bay Gelding, yeah.
And the other fellow we got here behind us, another Mentor.
Yeah, he is. His Mentor had a good year that year. He's one that obviously we've got with you guys, and he's a Mentor colt. He's a yearling Mentor colt out of the one and only Jalen Downs Love.
So would I be right in saying that first foal offered out of Primrose?
Yeah, he's the oldest foal out of Primrose. Yep.
And first foal gone to auction out of Love.
Yeah, and the only colt thus far. She's. I think I'll stand corrected. There might be 4 or 5 fillies from babies on mares through to 3-year-old, but he's the only colt that she's had.
And so he's Jalen Downs divorced colt, still a colt.
Yeah, he is. He's still a colt sire material. He's definitely a proper sire material. We thought we bought him as that. The divorce name came because I think both of us went pretty close to being divorced when we broke the news.
Yes.
And probably hence the reason as my wife says, there's too many males on this place with myself and the 2 stallions and the 2 boys. So anyway, that's his story. He's a horse with lovely bone, beautiful travelling horse, flat, long. He's going to be plenty big enough. He's a nice pony.
And I suppose like you're looking for a polocross sire. McCallum's produced them before. Berragoon have got their size down there. Rosebrook have got their size. It's hard to know where to go, isn't it, and what to find. So you can just go off the mare lines.
I've always been a big believer, whether you're breeding cattle, you're breeding dogs, breeding gallopers, breeding polocross horses. I think most stallions have been kept because they're out of something a little bit better than the average, and they buy something a bit better than the average, and they go a bit better than the average. A lot of mares that get bred out of are possibly, there's probably still a big portion of mares that got bred out because she knocked an eye out when she was a yearling, or because she had a bad leg, or because she's a bit hard to break in. And hence the reason why I think honing in on that better mare, that real good mare, is it just increases drastically. I think the percentage rate, the strike rate of getting good ones. Any mare could probably breed a good one on a fluke, but those real good mares and pedigrees that are scattered with those real good mares, I just think you see people out there every day of the week doing them, and not even just out of one good mare. We're probably at the stage now, the way the industry's come, where you need those horses that are out of a good family, and I really think it's those mares that you go to that make it happen. Like this fella here, this President, he's out of like Primrose. She's a 3/4 sister to Portia, who everyone knows Portia. And he's had about 8 rides, this horse, 8 or 9 rides. He's already been to work on about his 5th ride and rides like an old horse, and he's 17 months old.
Yeah.
And I've got no doubt that's, the mentors, like Mentor obviously out of Warren Bry Eve, who's a full sister to Omega and has been a prolific producer. It's no fluke that they're easy to get on with and they're good to ride, and it seems to come to them easy. It's not accidental, I don't think.
And the Mentor's a bit of style, ain't he? Like he's a good looking horse.
He's a lovely type of horse, and they've been really. It's one thing about him. You're breeding a versatile horse. I believe either of these horses could be bought and never see a polocross field in their life and be very successful. They could win drafts, they could win challenges. especially this President. I think he's a horse could win, stock horse, lead class, hat class type
Yeah.
stuff. So you're just breeding a versatile horse. It's not a one trick pony, and can go on and probably have options if you decide that Polocross isn't their best slot.
And I suppose you look down there at Tamworth at some of them big horses that are going through there now, like if they're not a One Stylish Pepto or a Hard at Henry or something like that, or they're a Conman or an Acres, like where are them fellas going to go with their mares? Like they outcross them, like Cody Woodward's got Comedian, he's an outcross horse you bred as well.
Yep.
You got to find them better mares that you can go back that are better than average, but they're nothing that no one else has got.
Exactly right. It's we're at that point now where it's pretty hard if you've got, for example, a Conman mare and you don't want to breed to a quarter horse. It's quite challenging to breed to a stock horse that's not a Conman horse. So we're at that point where those horses are probably coming into their own. Hence the reason we bought Old Cherokee off Tim and Amanda Hollis a few years ago, last year, was largely because of that. For our few Conman mares that we've got, he was just we thought he was a good option.
Well, I suppose we'll find out on the 28th, won't we, how much the couple of horses make behind us, and 1 o'clock Saturday the 28th. But you're also helping us get off the ground this year. We're going to have this top genetics sale with a few embryos in it, and we've got 5 embryos this year, and you and Rosie have been grateful enough to put 2 in for us, and we're going to have an embryo by Cherokee and out of Primrose.
Yeah. So the first one's once again out of Jail and down to Primrose. By Cherokee. Now, anyone who doesn't know Adios Cherokee, he's a Navajo. Now, I think you'd find if you looked up the database, there might be 4 or 5 colts that were ever by Navajo, and most of them are gone. We had a horse a few years ago. We bought off Mark and Debbie Palmer a horse called Palmer's Comic. He died. I'm not sure. He might have been 9-year-old or something like that, 8 or 9-year-old. And I think he had 18 registered progeny, and he. 2 of them, we had 2 go to nationals last year, and both of them were in winning sides in the Masters and the Men's for New South Wales, and both of them won the stock horse prize for both those competitions. And then one of them in particular went on to win the overall stock horse of the whole Chinchilla Nationals, and that was from a very small pool of them. And there's been several others play successfully. Draft, Dakota Collins sold one down at Berrigoon earlier in the year, Buckskin Gelding. It was a really nice horse too, and anyway, he died suddenly on us.
Well, I think here locally, mate, we can all say that all the comics played, didn't they?
They did, and they drafted and they did whatever. They're very versatile horses. But he was a Navajo out of a mare called Palmer's Funny Face, and she was a cool gun out of Palmer's Abilene. We say that the mare families. Navajo was obviously out of the Queen of Camp drafting out of Breezette. And anyway, so Abilene was an Abbey mare. So hence Old Cherokee, he's a Navajo. And he's but this time he's out of a mare called Select that Bruce Hollis had. Select won over 120 drafts, and was out of possibly one of the best stock horse families of all time. There's all full brothers and sisters. There was Select, Reflect, Elect, Direct. They're all full brothers and sisters. And as I say, she won 120 odd drafts, and he's a progeny of that. So hence the reason we went there. He's really similarly bred to Comic, and the Comics were really good for us for the Polocross market. They went on and played, and he's really the only horse bred along that similar line. Anyway, and that embryo's out of Primrose, who we mentioned before, Jalen down to Primrose, who there's this fellow, he's the first one, and then we've got we got a couple by Freestyler in the paddock out of it that are just on mares. But
then you've got a second one.
Yeah, well, that first one's real unique for us. Firstly, because that Old Cherokee, he's finished this year. He'll only stand one more season to stud. So that's a genetic package that's all after this year won't be able to be recreated. So it's we really think it's a pretty nice horse. Our second one.
Well, back with that, so these women win a Cherokee service fee out of the ladies thing. Like they might be one of the last to get one.
Well, it'll be the last year that he breeds them out of the public. We've got semen frozen that we'll use for ourselves in the stud. Yeah. And we'll breed a few mares ourselves to him possibly, but he's an old horse, and it's just fair on him that he'll go this year, and that'll be that. Yeah.
And then your second embryo you're putting up is Freestyler Celeste.
Yeah.
So Freestyle the Command horse, and Celeste is a
Yeah, she's by Acres Mercury.
yep.
Chapo's good mare. Andrew Chapman's good horse that passed away. He's an Acres horse. So yeah, Celeste is by Acres Mercury. She's out of it. She's sort of bred a bit different to probably what else is in this sale. She's by Plain Stylish, an American cutting horse. But she's out of the same mare as a top, very highly campaigned open cutting mare of Hugh Miles, a mare called Courageous. A really strong mare family there. And then also, once again, you go back to her grandmother. She's out the same mare as Doc Spinifex. And
Yeah,
there's
right.
probably no more influential quarter horse stallion on that cutting, that early days cutting scene than Doc Spinifex. So she's a really cool mare family. And that embryo's by our other horse here, Clark Family Freestyler. He's a con man out of Clark Family Style. Now, Style's a mare of Troy and Sally Clark's. Probably one of, if not my favourite mare that I'd seen drafting, and she was out of Charm. She was by Amiga out of Charm, who Troy won the Gold Cup on many years ago. But she won. Keep talking about the good mares. She won 30-something drafts. She was just, she'd win a lead class tomorrow. She was one of the more beautiful animals you'd see. And obviously he's by Conman, yeah.
And that sort of, you mightn't think that's a polocross genetics, but who's to say it isn't? It's. I suppose what we're trying to do is offer these better embryos and get these better genetics into our system.
Yeah.
You only look at Portia, like she's got Freckles Oak in her, So, and Celeste, like I've been lucky enough to sit on her as well. Like, so she's an A grade mare. So, if you're not into polocross and you want to still come and look at our sale, well, you've got a foal there that could do anything.
She's only had probably 18 months solid, semi-solid drafting as far as what we call semi-solid for our time frame. And she ran a place in the Open at the Stockhorse National Finals last year. We ran off that big novice at Dolby last year on her. And she's a mare we're pretty excited with. She's a lovely big mare.
She's a keeper.
Yeah, she's a proper keeper. She's a big roomy mare. She's probably 15-2 and all strength underneath you. So, but you look at it and see in some of the, you look at Berrigoon's catalogue earlier in the year, and you even see a bit of Acres coming through. You see that even I see that one of their mares was a metallic cat mare. It's the industry's probably moving from 20 years ago, isn't it? Like you mentioned, Portia. Well, Memphis is buying Acres horse.
Yeah.
So it's probably an industry where we're trying to breed versatility, and they're possibly a horse that they can probably play, but they can probably challenge too. They can probably draft. They can probably win a stock horse working class. They're probably, as we referred to before, not a one-trick pony, I guess.
Well, you want them horses that the family can ride.
Yeah.
You and Rosie ride them, the boys ride them. Rosie wants to draft one, you want to play it. Like, they got to be able to do it, isn't it? Like, that's what we're aiming for.
You talk to certain polocross people who draft as well, and I had one in particular say to me last year, "Oh God, no, I'm not running two teams of horses just to be able to go to a few drafts. Like, they've got to do it both." And it's very true. The other side, if we were to go and want to play, well, we're not going to run a team of polocross horses on the side just to go to a few carnivals. It's and being a registered stock horse sale as it is, I think the slogan for the Stock Horse Society is the breed for every need, isn't it, or something along those lines. Like it, I think that's probably where the industry is, and also trying to breed a type. I think that's more important than anything else on paper, is trying to breed a type. You breed the wrong type, something a little long back, round shouldered fella, he's probably pretty limited in what he can do. If he's not cow enough to be a cutter or to be whatever you've bred him for, he's probably pretty limited in what he can do. So it's just trying to be conscious of a type and breed something that being athletics easy, and they're easy on the eye and easy to get on with.
Oh, look, I think we all agree with that, mate. You want one that you can take anywhere and just be competitive with, in at whatever level, But look, will be interesting to see how this embryo sale goes. Like, there's only 5 lots in it, so and it'll run on Auctions Plus there over the whole weekend. So you just never know. It just might be the start of something that we really grow into and make something out of. And we'll open it up to more and more people, I think, as we go forward. But it's all about the quality that we're putting in there, I think, is a big thing. And obviously, giving up these better embryos and having them for sale, it's an opportunity for the breeders to make a quid. And it costs a lot of money to have an embryo and the whole deal. So, so I just think, hopefully it goes off good for us. Hopefully our sale sells well. We have a good weekend with the weather and we have a good time.
Yeah, and on behalf of us, thanks for inviting us into the embryo sale. It's just really good to be involved in something that's trying to think outside the box, and yeah, they probably weren't two embryos we were going to sell. They're ones that we'd love to keep, but we wanted to have a go and wanted to be part of it. So something's got to put its hand up, and but yeah, it'll be a really good weekend, and we just figured try and put a couple of nice ones up. There's not much point putting an average horse in there. We might as well see if we put a nice one up and help it get off the ground.
Well, we certainly appreciate it, mate. But before we go, I want you to give me your best section you've seen right onto a field. Can be anyone, anytime.
Well, I'd have to say I'm very amateur as far as polocross, but I just watch from the sideline. I haven't seen much cooler than the World Cup at Warwick there. That final we went up to watch.
Yeah.
Abbott Grills,
2019.
Grills,
Yeah.
Lance Anderson and Will Weston. That was pretty cool to watch. But I did grow up. I did spend a lot of my time earlier in my life living next door to Brett Woodward, and of course, once I turned 18, we'd have a few drinks and watch polocross videos. And from back, in Brett's, I suppose when Brett was 20 to 30, or in when he was playing back then, and I don't know that I've seen too many that go better than him. So I suppose he's a super sub. That section plus Brett is a super sub, I guess.
Yeah, and if you had to pick a horse to play on, any horse that you've seen go around.
Once again, there's lots of nice ones going around now, and this could be false because I haven't seen the DVD in about 10 years, but I used to sit there and watch on repeat on those same DVDs with Brett, the horse that Kenny and Jamie Grimman had. I think they called him Alfie or something like that. He looked a big gelding, and he'd turn himself inside out and upside down and put his head behind his back legs if he had to get away from one. And
well, you play a 1 and then you play a 3, yeah.
And there's probably better looking going ones, and there's some brilliant horses now. Like you could rattle off 10 mares now that you'd love to take home. But yeah, he was pretty cool.
All good, mate. Well, thanks for your time, and see you out there.
Thanks.